All right, viewers, breaking news coming in on the broadcast. The latest as far as the Delhi terror attack probe is concerned is picking pace. The Delhi police, along with the Jammu Kashmir police, have roped in multiple agencies as all angles are being investigated in the blast case. The terror crackdown in the valley after the Delhi blast is another angle that we're going to get you all details of. The latest coming in is that 3 terror suspects have been picked up in Jammu Kashmir. Let's first get in my colleague Vishnu Shom, who's joining us live on the broadcast. Vishnu, through the night, through the morning, you've been tracking every aspect of the investigations that are currently underway. Walk us through the latest that you're picking up.
Well, as I do that, I'd just like to describe to our viewers where exactly we are, where we were in the evening. So if we just walk over here, you could actually see the Gauri Shankar Mandir over here. And the reason I'm pointing all of this out is to give you an idea of just where, the attack took place. And as I walk to this particular area, and I'll just ask my camera person, Prem, to focus over here. Those are the ramparts, so that is the rampart of the Red Fort. And that's just about 150, 200 meters away from where I am right now. And then if we just walk over here and, just to give our viewers an idea of the security deployment in this particular area, the blast took place over there. It took place behind the white screens. Those white screens didn't exist when I was reporting here a little past midnight, and the media have actually been brought back a little bit by about 30 odd feet or so. The rapid action force that's in the men in blue over here have been deployed, and what we are focusing on now, Prem, is Chandni Chowk's entry. This is one of the entry points to Chandni Chowk that you can actually see. It's sort of headed in that direction. So what the idea over here is basically to tell you about where this took place. The blast took place 200 meters behind me, about 150 meters, about 200 meters to this side is where Red Fort is located. The Gauri Shankar Mandir right over here, and in the distance over there, not too far away, just barely 50-60 meters away from me, is where one of the primary entries to Chandni Chowk is located. And the blast took place right over there, right next to a metro station, as it were. So the location where the blast went off, one of the most congested areas in Old Delhi. When it did happen at approximately 6:50 or so p.m. Last night, it took place when this area would have been incredibly busy. A lot of people out in the markets at that time, people, tourists from India, around the world, when that massive explosion took place. So this is what we're picking up in terms of this area. The big story or the big breaking news early this morning was that what we sensed last night, that there were no two doubts about the fact that this is a terror attack, is something which has been proven to be entirely correct at this stage. Section 16 and Section 18 of UAPA, which is the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, has in fact been invoked in this particular area. There are various charges of terrorism, murder and attempt to murder as well, which have come in. Earlier on, approximately 2 hours earlier, in this particular area, what I did notice was a couple of investigators actually coming out and picking up small remnants, debris, possibly of explosives, possibly of the remains of components of the vehicles which had been blown up, and they were putting them into little pouches and then going back, and inside or right behind where you see the white curtains, behind that there are a couple of tents, at least one, which has been set up where a lot of equipment has been set up. So a couple of important developments which have taken place in the last little while, in the last couple of hours, is as follows. And the big breakthrough is a sense of who was responsible as far as the blast was concerned. The man who was actually driving the car, a Hyundai i20, a Haryana registration. The initial owner was somebody called Salman. From Salman, it went to an Ahmed. It went to a Tariq, who's in fact being questioned now by the police, and ultimately to Umar. And it became clear that Umar Omar Mohammed is likely to be the person who was driving the car. Now, when I spoke to the DCP North a little while back, what he indicated is that it's uncertain whether there was anybody else in that car, but there is a hint of suspicion that perhaps Omar Mohammed was acting on his own. Now, what he was, of course, clearly a part of was a larger gang. And I think as we bring you more details of this, what I can share, and again, that's the Gauri Shankar Mandir that you see on the side over here. It's just right in the middle of all of this, the busiest possible area, one of the busiest possible parts of Chandni Chowk. The Jama Masjid not too far from here, the Red Fort on this side, is that Omar was part of a larger group, and that larger group had the following people who were involved. There was a Dr. Ahmed Mohiuddin Syed, somebody who was in Gujarat. This was a doctor who was actually trying to produce resin. This is extremely poisonous. It can be disseminated in the air. Castor oil, which is something which is used in the manufacture of resin, was actually found over there, and the effort, it appears, was to try and develop that. So he was arrested some time back, as also Dr. Mujammil Shakil. Now, this is the man who had that property in Faridabad, and it was in Faridabad that close to 3 tons of explosive material, including several hundred kilograms of ammonium nitrate, was required. That ammonium nitrate is what actually triggered, it is believed, the blast which took place. There's been no shrapnel which has been found in the area, which seems to indicate that perhaps as far as the explosion itself is concerned, the sense was that there was no need for nails, pellets, etc., that the explosive strength of the ammonium nitrate itself would have been enough. Then there was Adil Ahmed Rathar, another doctor picked up from Saharanpur. He was arrested over there, but he was at the government medical college in Anantnag. In his locker, there was an AK-56 rifle which was found, ammunition as well, and also one other person who was Dr. Shaheen Shahid, who was an associate who allowed the use of her car to actually store weaponry and things like that. So these are the 4 people, and it just strikes me as I hand back to you that the police were actually interrogating all of these people, with the exception of Omar, who has detonated that device and died in that blast. The police were interrogating the others in this particular case, and they were really, really close to shutting this down altogether. And there is a sense that perhaps Omar, who had panicked at a particular stage, decided that he needed to do something, got into his car, came to this area in the afternoon. He was in a parking lot over here till approximately 3 p.m, a little after that. And then I guess at about 6 p.m. or so, after a few hours of being in that parking lot, he moved to this area where the explosive was detonated. More than 20 cars, or approximately 20 cars, were absolutely smashed. 10 people have lost their lives. Many others have been injured.